All right, how's everybody doing? We're going to get into to Daniel here, and I'm uploading a YouTube video exposing the Illuminati controlling, of course, folks. They control everything. So why wouldn't they control college football, which is one of the most popular things on Earth? It's one of the most popular sports in the United States. And the United States is the hub of it all, isn't it? And so now it's processing, so I can go ahead and publish it. There we go. Just trying to get that out of the way. And now I can take my Bible study channel, switch out. That way, when I upload, it'll be uploaded to the Bible study channel. And I got my New Living Translation off to the side. So we're ready to go. All right. And for the majesty that he gave him, all the people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him, whom he would slew, and whom he would keep kept alive, and whom he would set up, and whom he would put down. But when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride, he's talking about Nebuchadnezzar. Uh, I think Daniel was telling the story. If I'm not mistaken, we go back to Daniel 5. Sorry about that. I forgot where we're from. I think it was the story of Nebuchadnezzar's. Daniel is speaking to, or somebody is referring back to. Yeah, yeah, he's speaking back to Nebuchadnezzar. He made him so great. Your Majesty, the Most High God gave sovereignty, majesty, glory to the predecessor Nebuchadnezzar. He made him so great that the people of all races and nations and languages trembled before him in fear. He killed those he wanted to kill, and he spared those he wanted to spare. He honored those he wanted to honor, and he disgraced those he wanted to disgrace. But when his heart and mind were puffed up with arrogance and pride, of course, it said, he was brought down from his royal throne and stripped of his glory. He was driven from human society. He was given the mind of a wild animal and lived among the wild donkeys and ate grass like a cow. And he was drenched with the dew of heaven until he learned that the Most High God rules over the nations of the world and appoints anyone he desires to rule over them. You are his successor, O Belshazzar, and you knew all this, yet you have not humbled yourself, for you have proudly defied the Lord of heaven and have had these cups from the temple brought before you. Remember the cups from of gold and silver brought out of the Jewish temple. They were drinking with them that night. For you have proudly defied the Lord of heaven and have set up these cups in the temple and brought before you, and you and your nobles and your wives and your concubines have been drinking wine from them, while praising the gods of gold and silver and bronze and iron and wood and stone, gods that neither see nor hear anything at all. But you have not honored the God who gives you the breath of life and controls your destiny. So God has sent this hand to write this message. This is the message that was written. Many, many, tekel, and parsin. This is what the words mean. Many, numbered. God has numbered the days of your reign and has brought it to an end, which means it's the end of Babylon because he's taken over by the Medes and the Persians, which are the second kingdom in Daniel's story of the various kingdoms, head of gold, uh, head of silver, or chest of silver. I can't remember, but it's gold, then silver, then bronze. Which of course, what do they have? Gold medals in the Olympics, same thing. Tekel means weighed. You have been weighed in the balances and have not measured up. Parsin means divided. Your kingdom has been divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. Then at Belshazzar's command, Daniel was dressed up in purple robes, and a gold chain was hung around his neck, and he was proclaimed the third highest ruler in the kingdom. That very now, that very night, Belshazzar, the Babylonian king, was killed, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62. And just to check that out in the King James, O thou his son, O Belshazzar, has not humbled thine heart, thou though knewest all of this. So you can go back and read it in the King James, but we were spot on with it. If you want to read the interpretations, they might be interesting in the King James. This is the interpretation of the thing. Many, God have numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel Thou art weighed in the balance and art found wanting. So you are found wanting. Paris, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. Then commanded Belshazzar, they clothed Daniel in scarlet, and so on and so forth. Um, we're reading over, yeah, and we got to the end, but we're doing two tonight. We're doing a Monday and Tuesday Bible study, so I'm glad we did switch over to the King James because we got 3 to read in chapter 6. It pleased Darius the Mede to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and the princes because of his excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. So Darius the Mede gave Daniel basically made him boss. Now, God put that in Darius the Mede's heart to spare Daniel when they took over, to find him, to meet him, to be presented to of him, by him, to him, and to accept him. And Daniel, per the Lord's wishes, was just had an amazing spirit, extremely good at what he did, a very hard worker. That's why I always like going back and forth between Revelation and Daniel, because part of Daniel teaches you how to live your life while living here in Babylon. I mean, you just go and do the best you can every day and do your job and try to keep an excellent spirit about you because you are the light of the Lord. So be that. Vengeance is the Lord's. So you do your best while you're in your flesh, not, well, the Lord will call you out of strife. It clearly states, those which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom in Galatians 5:19 through 21. Adultery, fornication, drunkenness, revelry, wrath, strife, um, lasciviousness, all of that stuff. Strife, arguing, bickering back and forth. So this was good to see. Let's read it in the New Living, then we'll go back in the King James if we feel the need to. It's only three verses. It's just this right here. And then we have finished 2 days of Bible study in Daniel. Darius the Mede decided to divide the kingdom into 120 provinces and appointed a high officer to rule over each province. The king also chose Daniel and 2 others as administrators to supervise the high offices and protect the king's interest. Daniel soon proved himself more capable than all the other administrators and high officers. Because of Daniel's great ability, the king made plans to place him over the entire empire. Let's go to Luke. Blessings on the king who comes in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in highest heaven. But some of the Pharisees among the crowd said, Teacher, rebuke your followers for saying anything like that. He replied, if they kept quiet, the stones along the road would burst into cheers. See, because Jesus was God and his flock knew that. They knew him. Jesus weeps over Jerusalem. But he came closer to Jerusalem and saw the city ahead, and he began to weep. How I wish today that you of all people would understand the way to peace. I want to read this in a King James. He answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. I like that better too in the King James. I want to read that one too. And when he was come near and beheld the city, he wept over it, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. For the days shall come upon thee, that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee on every side. and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knowest not the time of thy visitation. And he went into the temple and began to cast out them that sold therein and them that bought. So the den of thieves and all that, saying unto them, it is written, my house is the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. And he taught daily in the temple, but the chief priests and the scribes and the chiefs of the people sought to destroy him and could not find what they might do, for all the people were very attentive to hear him. And it came to pass that on one of those days that he taught the people in the temple, preached the gospel, and the chief priests and the scribes came upon him with the elders, and he spoke unto him, saying, tell us, by what authority do you do these things? Or who is he that gave thee this authority? And he answered and said unto them, I will also ask you one thing, and answer me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or of men? And they reasoned with themselves, saying, if we shall say from heaven, they will say, then he will say, then why didn't y'all believe him? And if you say of men, then the people will stone us, for they believe that John was, of course, a prophet. And they answered that they could not tell whence it was. And Jesus said unto them, neither tell I you by what authority I do these things. Thank y'all very much. I love you. Ask questions.